Russian doctors treating Alexei Navalny are ruling out poisoning for now, after the opposition figurehead tested negative for the presence of toxic substances. Navalny remains in intensive care in a hospital in the Siberian city of Omsk, where he's in a coma after falling ill during a flight to Moscow. Doctors say they will carry out more tests.
So far, no traces of toxins have been found in the blood samples we've taken. We currently do not suspect he was poisoned.
Well, medical staff at the Omsk hospital say they've completed the preliminary blood and urine tests, and they found no trace of a toxic substance or any sort of poison. Earlier, we heard from the head of the hospital. He said that Navalny's condition has improved since yesterday, but he's still not entirely stable. Navalny's supporters and his family have been calling for the opposition leader to be moved to a facility abroad, but the staff at the hospital are saying he's way too fragile to be airlifted anywhere.
His condition improved overnight, but it is not completely stable. It is too early to talk about airlifting him abroad. First, we have to make sure his condition is completely stable. We cannot transfer him in this state, even if his family have consented to it.
Now, the doctors are still considering a number of possibilities, but they say that they've come to a near certain diagnosis connected to some sort of metabolical dysfunction. But within the next 2 days, the public will be informed of the final test results, what they end up showing. So it was on Thursday, to give our viewers a little bit of background, that Navalny was heading towards Moscow from Siberia on a plane when he fell suddenly very, very ill. The pilot had to make an emergency landing in the Siberian city of Omsk after the paramedics had rushed to his aid, and he was definitely in serious pain. Now, Navalny was quickly rushed to an emergency care unit near the airport in Omsk, where he's since been in a coma and on a ventilator. We also heard from his press secretary, who has been traveling with Navalny, who suggested that he was likely poisoned in his morning tea that day. But thanks to this new information from the press conference, that seems highly unlikely. Still, it did gain a lot of international attention.
About Mr. Navalny, we are of course extremely preoccupied and saddened by the situation of Alexei Navalny. We heard this morning what happened to him, and I want to say here that we give him all our support, his family, his loved ones, for a prompt recovery, and we stand by their side.
I hope and wish, of course, that he will recover as quickly as possible. We will, of course, offer him all the medical help he needs, and he can turn to German hospitals.
We haven't seen it yet. We're looking at it, and Mike's going to be reporting to me soon.
Now, the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov already commented on the situation. He said the government would be willing to allow Navalny to go and seek treatment abroad, despite the fact that the borders are still closed because of the coronavirus pandemic. But he also noted that the final decision would come down to the doctors who are currently treating him.
The decision is entirely medical. It's likely that there are some bureaucratic formalities that I'm not aware of, but there are no obstacles in principle. It depends on the head doctor, who is responsible for the patient's health.
Let's not forget that just last year, another so-called suspected poisoning took place. Navalny was hospitalized with a swollen face. He said he had never had an allergic reaction before. He said that perhaps he was poisoned. Even his personal doctor said he may have come in contact with some sort of toxic substance. But what was it at the end? Just an allergic reaction. So this could indeed also be a similar story to that one.